think the thing that can be really, really helpful to get this really good, like a tight, punchy description is to think of like an overall metaphor that goes with the piece. So when I did this for my GCSEs, I often used like a battleground metaphor. So I think I remember writing one of the prompts being um, describe the road outside your house. And so I described the road as if it was a battleground. And then there would have, if I got a prompt like this, like setting over a special place, I would have like described the place as if it was a battleground, potentially like a abandoned battleground that like had lost the war or something like that. But like getting good at writing metaphors that all are kind of thematically similar, then just like gives like coherence to your piece of writing. Um, a way to find this would be like in this one about the sunrise, you can say the sunrise symbolizes a new start, or the sunrise symbolizes um, the beginning of the end. That can be a way of like helping, and then you keep referring back to the sunrise as like the way you make your metaphors, or the other way to do it is like the sunrise is like a um I don't know, growing plant, or the sunrise is like a um the sunrise is like often I say like you can use like a good nature metaphor. Obviously, like comparing nature to nature is difficult. Um Equally you could go I'm struggling with another one for sunrise, but you could say like the mother's home symbolizes stability, or the mother's home is like an old tree, or is like um I mean you can really pick anything. Like a battleground is like a natural disaster, whatever. You can pick any overriding metaphor you like, and then you all your descriptions are kind of thematically linked to that, which helps like tie everything in. It means that you're not there going like, what kind of simile should I use? I know I need to use a simile. You know what you're going to compare things to because you've got this overall comparison that you're making, which also just like makes the examiner be like, wow, it's so thought through because it is, you've thought it through. Um, in terms of structuring these pieces, it's really helpful to have what am I trying to say? Have some sort of movement. And so where I've said pick a mood, the mood can be the movement, right? So you can say it starts sad, but it becomes happy, or it starts happy and it starts and it becomes sad. Um, or it's not like a story, things don't need to happen, but you could say like by the end, the person speaking, the person describing can make a choice, or something happens in their surroundings, like something happens. Um, or the day can gradually get warmer or colder. Like, but you just want some sort of change that can kind of like pull the story or the writing through. Um, if you want some idea of structure, I was talking to a student this week and we talked about like having 2 to 3 things that happen and turning each of those into a paragraph. So those what I mean by that is like in my story here about the mother's home, it could be like I look around the room, I go down for breakfast, I drink a cup of tea. Those could be the 3 things that happen. And each of those things becomes a whole paragraph, like 5 to 6 sentences of description. And that could help you structure it. Or we were talking about a story about like a town being just like destroyed. You could have like the sun rises, the construction workers start working, I walk out of town as like the 3 things that happen, and each of those become a paragraph. It's about exaggerating things, making things happen in like excruciating detail, because you're painting a picture of those 3 basic things happening. In the one of like the road outside my house, it could be like I step outside, a car comes past, a bird lands on a tree. Like it doesn't have to be like actions so per se, and like the simpler the actions can be, the better because you don't want it to slip over and become narrative writing. But this is the kind of thing you can do. And I would say if you're doing the AQA syllabus where you have the picture, you don't have to use the picture, but it can be helpful. And I would say like there's like one in one of the past papers where it's like a picture of a zoo. I would say like identify three things in the zoo, like for that prompt, and go like the tigers were fighting, the monkeys were eating a banana, and um, I bought an ice cream. And those be like the three things that take a whole paragraph each. And like that is how you can like use the picture prompt if you've got a picture prompt in your exam board. Um, so I think that is kind of what I wanted to say about descriptive writing. Um, I guess if we go back to these sentences, I would just say like the different elements that like if you are going to write your if you're the kind of person who are like I can get the facts down and then I'm going to make it descriptive, or if you are just any person and you're reading it over to check if you can make it more interesting. We're looking at like can we change the noun? In this sentence we said yeah, we can change the noun girl to something more emotive. Changing window seems a bit unnecessary because like are there more emotional words for window? Probably not. Um, and but so, but I mean, if you've got one in mind, you can obviously use it. We talked about can we add interesting adjectives? And something you can do with interesting adjectives is like some nouns and some adjectives go easily together, like a pretty girl, a brave boy, um, a cold glass of water, a clever or like an intellectual book, whatever, like things that there are things that like are just used together all the time. That's called a collocation. These things usually come together. But if you can mix up the collocations, that's when you get a really interesting phrase. So um, we won't say like a fast car, we'll say a sluggish car because cars are usually fast. So why is this car not fast? You want to like use an adjective if it's out of the ordinary. That's kind of how you can um, use your adjectives well. And the same with adverbs. Like we're not going to say he ran fast. We're going to say he ran. Um, I don't know. He ran heavily. That's not usually what we think of when people run. So why is he running heavily? Like it makes us start asking questions, and it gives us a picture in our head instantly. Um, this is like why the dog lolloped lazily is kind of nice because we're used to dogs being like super fast. And so like it kind of like creates an interesting picture. We've also obviously got the alliteration here, L L L L. Like it's four L's going on there, which is a nice like it mimics the action a little bit because it's like a very lazy thing to say as well. Um, and so we're going to choose interesting verbs that capture some sort of emotion. We're not going to say ran, we're going to say scampered. We're not going to say looked, we're going to say gazed, or um, peered, or yeah, things like that. We're going to use similes. We're going to use similes that fit with our overall metaphor. We're going to use metaphors that fit with our overall metaphor. Um, we're going to zoom in on little details, or we're going to give fuzzy details to things we don't want to focus on. Um, yeah, I think this is what I'm trying to say. Um, hopefully some of this was helpful. If you want more examples, I can go through more example sentences. And I will hopefully do one of these on narrative writing soon. Um, yes, as always, if you want any help, feel free to send me a message on any of the social media platforms that I'm on. And if this was super helpful and you're like, wow, I'd like to do a personalized version of that, um, I'm always available for tutoring. And I've got other tutors at Niamh Elizabeth Tutoring who are happy to work with you as well, who could do something similar with you. So if you would like some help with your GCSEs, get in touch. And it'd be super helpful to me, as always, if you would like, share, comment on this video because it means it can go out, help other people, and um, spread the word. So yeah, I hope you have a good day, and hopefully I'll hear from you.